Hi, I'm Josh,
And I'm Vetus.
and today we're going to talk to you about working with decimals. Now, there's only four things you can do. You can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. You can do it in fancy ways, but first you got to know your number placements, okay? So you should have your worksheets printed out, but when I put this number, Vetus, 12, okay? The 2 is in the what place?
2 is in the tens place.
No, the 2's in the ones place, man. The 1 is in the tens place. The 2 is in the ones place. All right, this is 12.5. We'll call it. Okay, so the 2 is in. There's two ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there's one 10. Right.
Absolutely.
The 3 is in the what place?
3 is in the hundreds place.
Hundreds. Okay.
Uh-huh.
The 4 is in the what place?
Thousands.
Thousands. 5 is in the what place?
10,000.
10,000s. Okay. The 6 is in the what place?
100,000.
100,000. Then it goes to
Million.
million.
10 million. 100 million. Billion. That's a billion.
$1 million. Okay.
I
Ten-
can't count that high. I don't know what the next one is.
You know, okay, so
Billion,
that's 10,
billions, where I
10
stop.
billion,
I don't know.
100 billion, and then I think this is, that's trillion,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. I think the next would be 10 trillion, 100 trillion. I think it would be quadrillion, okay? All right, so now, as you go left, it gets bigger, obviously, right? But as you go right, it gets smaller. That's also obvious. Okay, this point is called a decimal point. What's the root of DEC?
Deca.
Deca, and deca always means
10.
10. So in Spanish, after nueve is
Diez.
Okay, and in a decade, how many years are there?
10.
Right, and a decagon has 10 sides. Okay, so
Absolutely.
now this decimal really divides the whole numbers over here to the left, and then to the right are all always getting smaller. So if this is the 10th place, I call this the spitting zone. If your teacher's talking about decimals, don't sit in the front row.
Right.
You
Don't
could
do
get
it.
spit on, okay? So
It's like SeaWorld. You don't want to be there.
well, that would be it would be better on SeaWorld.
In
except-
Miami, just maybe not Seattle, you know.
Yeah. Okay, but the I don't know what happened in Seattle. All right.
Oh, it's cold there.
Oh yeah. All right. No, that's right. Well, I mean, don't even go see those contained mammals. That's cruel. Okay.
Okay.
So ready? What is this for in? If this is the tenths, what is this?
Hundredths.
Hundredths.
Thousands.
Thousandths. You see, this is the spitting zone because your teacher's gonna have to make this sound.
The lisping.
We'll wipe the screen later. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then this is if this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000s,
Uh-huh.
100,000s, millionths, and so on and so forth. Hopefully you don't do too much with
And the
millionths.
two most important numbers here are the ones on either side of the decimal.
True.
If you know those, you can figure out the rest. So on the left side of the decimal, you have your 2.
Mm-hmm.
You always know that's the ones. You can scale up from there.
Right.
On the right side of the decimal, you have the tenths. There's no once. Okay.
Why isn't there
once
any
is not a thing. Once is
Once
just
is
okay.
a thing. Ready? Here it is.
Oh.
2 once.
No, once upon a time is not a thing. Okay. It's tenths. Only tenths.
2 once, man. This is the once place already here.
No,
But
the
you have
12
to chop
12
up
once in
little.
a year?
Yeah.
No.
All these are pieces and all these are holes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this gets smaller and this gets bigger. Okay. So as long as we understand that, we're good. All right.
Exactly right.
So how do you add and subtract with decimals? Basically, you just line up them soldiers, right? Here's your decimal place, the drill sergeant. Here's your tenths. Here's your hundredths, all right? And here's your ones, and here's your tens, and your hundreds would go here, okay? So you just have to line them all up as if you were using graph paper. All right, do you want to try it?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, let's try a couple, okay? Here you go. I'll get you in the right spot.
Okay.
12.4.
12.4.
And look how he's putting the decimal place in its own little box, okay? I provided him some graph paper. Just imagine you got graph paper. Line everything up, okay? And 101.44. So write it right underneath, and he went 1 over for the hundredths. So all the tenths are in the tenths place, and then you can add a 0 as needed. Also, you can add a 0 up there as needed, or an X, because it's got no hundredths in that one, in 12. And then it's adding, so just add them up. Do you add left to right or right to left?
Right to left.
Right to left, okay? Put your addition sign there. You can always put the decimal ahead of time, and then Okay, perfect. And that's your sum. Okay, so write your sum in there. Okay.
Sum is 113.84.
Point or 84 hundredths. Okay. The next one is number 2. I'll move you down here and
Okay.
oops. And it's 13.8.
13 point
Decimal
8.
place gets its own 1.4 or 1
1.
and 4 tenths.
Always line up those decimals. Think where that decimal's going.
Line up the decimals, line up the ones, line up the tens, line up the tenths.
Line up them soldiers.
Okay, and line up them soldiers. Okay, plus sign,
All right, we're adding.
right to left,
Right
not
to
left to
left.
right. Okay.
2. Carry the 1.
Ooh.
4. 5.
Fancy.
Oh, there's that dot right there. Line up them dots. Okay. Plus the 1.
And the 1, 15.2. Perfect.
15.2 is our answer.
Okay. And the way to say it correctly is 15 and 2 tenths, but I always say point, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, ready? 007. I mean, sort of 007.
007.
Yeah. 0.007 or 7 thousandths. Go ahead.
Okay.
We'll do one more.
007. So 0.007.
Okay, watch what Vita's going to have to do. Plus 30.044.
So I'm thinking with this decimal right here going this way.
Correct.
Decimal
I like
first,
the way you
right?
did that. Yeah.
And then we'll go 0.
4
4 in the hundredth place, if I can write it.
Lag. Okay.
Uh-huh.
4. And then put the addition sign
Right
and
there.
watch where he adds the zeros as he likes.
Okay.
Anywhere that he wants, that because that doesn't change the value of 0.007. Okay.
Exactly right. Get 1 from 7 plus 4. Carry it. Get 5. 0. Dot
Decimal.
dot.
You can even do
equals
that
dot.
ahead of time. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it does.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't
0.
equal 2 dots.
3. You
Okay.
put 2 dots, that's very, very wrong.
Just
Okay?
a little
Don't
more.
do that.
Yeah.
No.
No,
Okay?
don't put 2 dots.
Don't do it.
All right. So subtraction works the same way. Line up them soldiers. 13.4. Oh, there you go.
13.4. Let me put in that answer for you right
okay,
there.
Thank you. There's
Okay.
the sum.
We're going to 13.4.
Okay. Yeah, why not?
All right.
Sorry. No, we'll go to number 4. 5
All right. 5
minus
minus.
point
Okay, so we have the
0.67. Now watch what he does. 5.0. Some people like start running, you know. It's 5.0.
version 5.00.
Okay. That means the police in some neighborhoods. All right.
It's a great computer
and so
program.
ready?
You're making progress.
All right.
Huh?
That's a 10.
Oh, we're subtracting. Okay, so
Subtracting, so-
3. So that has to do.
Oh, you didn't do it. Yeah, you did, but like backwards.
Oh,
You
yeah,
did it in
yeah,
your
yeah.
head
I did it in my head.
instead of borrowing
I'm very
first.
much
Okay.
mental math.
But you can't borrow
I
from that one
apologize.
either. Look,
Huh?
you can't borrow from that one either.
I can't
You
either.
need to borrow from the 5, right?
From the 5, yeah. So we do
that
that.
becomes a 4.
And that becomes a 4.
Okay.
We get a 4.
Yeah.
We get 1 dot, 2 dots.
1 dot.
1 dot. Okay, 1 dot.
Even if you're subtracting. 0 dots if you're subtracting. Okay, so the dot just goes first, and you might do that first. And then let's do one more, 13.4.
Okay.
4.33. Okay.
Okay. 13.
Well, you better end up with less than 5. You know,
Yeah.
using common sense, right?
Yeah, you'd hope so.
Okay.
You know?
13.4 minus
Yeah.
10.01.
Okay. 10.0. Oh goodness.
1.
Okay, there we go.
Now add the zeros where necessary.
Okay, 1 is open there. Let's fill that in with a
With
0.
a 0, okay.
And
Squiggly
then
0.
what are we doing here?
Subtraction.
Very squiggly.
And then,
I can't draw circles.
Vitas, do the decimal point first.
Decimal point first. Let's bring
Please.
that down right
Okay.
there. Okay.
There you go.
Decimal
Now,
point first.
borrow the correct way. So you
Oh.
can't borrow from that, so that
You
becomes
borrow
a
from
3.
the left, right? Okay.
I think so. That becomes a 3.
That's how it works. Okay.
And that
10
becomes
minus-
a 10. Good.
Oh, very
All right,
nice.
9.
Okay.
There we go.
And then
3
boom.
and 0.
Boom.
Okay.
So
3.39.
3.39.
The other thing is you should just be using common sense estimation. 13 minus 10 is 3.
Right.
So 13 and change minus 10 and change is 3 and change.
Right.
It makes sense. If you ended up with 30 or 33.9, then you did not line up them soldiers, okay?
Right. You put 2 dots and you multiplied them. I don't know what you did. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the rule again? What's the meme? Is how are you supposed to add or subtract decimals? You line up the ones with the ones, the tens with the tens, and the decimal point with the decimal point. Everything to the right or left flows from there. It should make sense, right?
Know your ones and know your tenths.
Yeah. And the adding and subtracting is the same thing. You just have to add or subtract and go right to left. Okay, so we can learn more than one concept in a day. How do you multiply with decimals? So you really won't see any other teachers do it this way, right? But basically, you can't multiply with decimals. You can only multiply with integers. So in order to get 0.75 into 75, how many times did I have to move this decimal place to get to here? I had to move it twice. 1, 2. Okay? And since I moved it 2, I need to remember that. How many times did I need to move this to get it to times 2?
1 time.
1 time. So that's 2, 1, 2, 3. So I draw a little clown here, and I put a 3 there. Okay? Then these are both integers. It's 75.0, which is unnecessary to write, and 2.0, which is unnecessary to write. So what's 75 times 2?
150.
150. Okay? 150 is the same as 150.0. Since this is the cloud bank, you see the piggy bank, okay? You always have to pay back the bank, okay? Or skip the country. All right? So I go 1, 2, 3, draw the arrow, and draw the decimal point. So our product, remember, 75 times 2 is 150, but a lot less than 1 and a lot less than 1 is going to be a lot less than 1. So our product is 15 hundredths. You don't need to draw that 0, you don't need to draw that 0, but the test will often have this 0. Okay?
Right. And this is, again, a 2-part problem, right?
What's the first part?
3 parts. I mean, make your cloud bank.
Uh-huh.
That's the first
Count
one.
the decimals,
Right.
and put it in the cloud bank.
Then you're multiplying, the second part.
The integers or the whole numbers.
So that's the multiplying, number 2 right there.
Right? You multiply regular.
Third one is now you have to take your cloud bank
Pay back the bank.
and pay back the bank, the third part right here, number 3. So
It's moving the decimal.
think of this 3-part problem when you're multiplying decimals.
So when people get this product of 150, I want to see them draw the little loopty-doopties in between the numbers. And then I want to draw the arrow, and I want to draw the point.
That's a great
So-
loopty-doopty.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Some people just make a mistake, and they either include 2 numbers, or they right-click 2 numbers, or they go into the number, or they'll put it way up here, and that's all messed up. Don't do that.
Yes.
Okay,
When
so-
you loop, you go just over a number to the other side of it.
Right.
When
So
you
let's-
dupe, you go just over a number to the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's try this. Ready? I'll try it. Here, we'll do number 6, okay?
Great.
Loop-de-doop-de. Ready? How many times does 12.2 get to 122? 1 time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? How many does 4.2 become 42?
1 time as well.
1 time. So that's 2 in the cloud bank. I'll draw my little cloud bank. Here's a 2.
All right.
And
Step
now I'm
one
going to
done.
do 122 times 4, 42.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? 2 times 2 is?
4.
2 times 2 is
4.
4, and 2 times 1 is?
2.
Okay, so you get 244 down there. This is an X or a 0 because you're on the second level. You're timesing by tens now. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 2 is 8. And 4 times 1 is 4. Now you have to add these 2 lines, right? So I get 4 plus 0 is 4. Carry the 1,
Mm-hmm.
a 1 and a 2, 12. And then what does that say? And that should be
2
11.
plus 8, 11. Yep. So 1.
Carry the 1, and that's a 5.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 1 there. Okay, and that's a 5. So 51. Now I owe back this is 5,124. Well, that's too big, but the decimal point would be here because it's a whole number. I need to go loopty, doopty, and then that decimal becomes there. And the answer to this is 51.24 hundredths. Okay. Now, what's 12 times 4?
48.
Well, that's close. 51's close to 48. So you can use an estimation, but some people would have 512, which is totally off, or some people have 5.1, which is totally off.
Right.
Okay?
So again, it's that 3-step problem. Just to reinforce that, your first step is the cloud bank right here. Number 1, you count how many loopties you get to get integers.
Full
Second
numbers,
step is multiplying. Number 2 right there. And your third step is to pay back the bank, right? And that's when you move these decimals over in the very end there and get 5,124 to the real answer.
Yeah.
51 and 24 hundredths.
Yeah, because it can't be 5,000.
Exactly right.
You should have gone with A, B, C here. Step A, step B, step
Let's
C.
see.
Yeah,
That
because you're
better?
drawing numbers near my problem.
More
man.
numbers. Oh,
It's
okay.
already
sorry.
hard enough to read.
Well, we like numbers. I thought more numbers the better.
Yeah, I don't want to get them confused.
Okay.
All right, let's do one more. 4.4 times 0.5. Okay, how many times do I need to move it over? One. Twice. Okay, so 2 goes in the cloud bank.
Mm-hmm.
I like to make squiggly clouds. One time I was passing by a factory and I told my kids that that was the cloud factory. and they believed me, and I love that story still. Okay, so now
I like that
all we have to
story.
do is
I believe you.
44 times 5, and we do 5 times is 20. I like to put the 2 first and then the 0. It's 20, and then 22 plus 2, 22. Okay, so it can't be 220. I have to pay it back. Step 1 is the cloud bank. Step A. Step B, and the step C is paying back the bank 2.2.
Perfect.
Okay, and it's
Very
basically
clean, very
asking
clean.
you what's half of 4.4. Well, 2.2 is. And how do we solve it? The cloud bank.
Cloud bank.
The cloud bank. Okay, so
Cloud bank.
now the last one is division when we're working with decimals, right? And before we got into this building, where were we? Were we inside the building or outside the building?
We were outside the building.
Yeah.
Oh.
Almost every building that you go into, except the one you were born in, is like you were outside and then you went inside. So there can't be decimals on the outside of this little bar. Do you know why I call this the bar?
No, why do you call it the bar?
Because I don't know what it's called. I'm not a math teacher. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. But there can't be any decimals here. And so whatever you move here to make it an integer, you better move here. So in other words, you see this 0.5? I've got to move the 0.5 over 1 to make just a 5. Right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So
right.
this 4.5 has also got to come over the same number, and now I'm going to end up with 49.5.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Scroll. Whoa. Okay. So I'm going to do that again. Ready? Is there a decimal on the outside of my house?
Yes, there is.
How many times am I going to have to move the decimal to get it to be an integer?
One time.
One time. Okay. So I'm going to draw my new problem, which is going to be on the outside divided by 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then the decimals here, because you can clearly see it there, I need to move it the same number of times. Okay. And so now this new number is 49.5.
Right. Move the outside decimal once, move the inside decimal once.
Outside the house, inside the house. That's
Absolutely.
the rule for dividing decimals. Okay.
Great.
Does 5 go into 4?
No, it doesn't.
Does it go into 49?
Absolutely.
How
9
many times? 9 times. So 9 times 5 is 45. Subtract, and you get line up these decimals, these soldiers, and you get a 4, right?
Absolutely right.
Bring down the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Does 5 go into 45?
Yes.
How many times?
9 times.
So this decimal has got to come up. I should have done that first. So it doesn't go 99 times. It does go 9.9 times. Now, if you have a fraction such as this, 1/2, can I just add a 0 there? 10 halves?
No.
That totally changes the value.
Totally
But
changes
what
it.
if I multiply this? What if I multiply them both by 10?
Multiply
Then
them
I
both
could-
by 10?
We'll still make 1/2, won't
We'll
it?
still make 1/2.
Okay. So can I just
Reduce.
add a 0 to just the denominator?
No, you can't do that.
But what if I add a 0 there too?
Then it's still the same number.
Then it's still 1/2, 100 out of 200. Okay, so this is the same principle here as you're moving the decimal over the number of times that you need it. Let's watch it in practice. I think you're following us. Okay. If you're confused, then just rewind, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. So
Pause and repeat.
I'm going to do number 8 on the graph paper that's remaining.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I typed it up myself. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, no, I'm not going to do number 8. That's multiplication.
Okay.
I'm going to do number 10.
Okay.
Okay. 100, then the bar divided by. Okay. 0.25. How many times do I have to move it over to make it a full 25?
Full 25 2 times.
2 times. Okay. So where's the decimal in 100? It's here. 100.00.
Mm-hmm.
So when you move it over 2 times, now you've got a 1 with 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4. The bar, and now you've got 25 on the outside. Does 25 go into 1?
Nope.
No. Does it go into 10?
Nope.
Does it go into 100?
4 times.
4 times. Okay, and then since that's 4 times 25, your math teacher wants you to write these zeros. I don't care. And since that's going to equal 0, then we know that that goes into 400. So what we're saying is that a quarter goes into $100 as many times as 25 goes into 10,000. It's proportional, if that makes any sense. Last one we're going to do, I'm going to do down here so you can see my handwriting. Okay, number 11 is 35 divided by 0.5. Now, some people would go like this: 35 divided by 0.5. That's wrong. So watch it again. 35, then the house, divided by 0.5. So it's opposite of the way it sounds.
Right. So
You go
first
from-
number inside the house.
The numerator, numerator divided by the denominator.
Mm-hmm.
Numerator divided by the denominator is wrong. You'll get the wrong answer.
Right.
You
so
can't
think-
go 1 divided by 2 is 1 divided by 2, because that goes 2 times, and 1/2 does not equal 2.
So it looks like D bar N or D
D-barn.
barn.
Yeah.
D barn.
The barn.
To barn.
Ooh, the house.
The house, the barn.
Oh, we should have said inside the outside the barn.
The barn. That's the way. D barn.
Oh,
We're saying it right now. It's
We're
great.
gonna change it. We're gonna. We knew that.
Yeah, we knew that.
All right. How many times do you have to move the decimal over to get a 5?
Once.
Once. So 35 times 10, or moving it over once,
Right.
is going to be the 350. And then you just divide by, like normal. Okay.
Yep. After you
Five.
rewrite, just
Yeah.
divide like normal.
Rewrite it though. Don't just do it from here.
Mhm.
Okay. And when you do rewrite it, the decimal should come up. You don't need to draw the arrow, but do draw the decimal. And keep all those soldiers lined up. 5 goes into 3, none at all. 35, 7. Exactly. So that's 70.
Exactly right.
All right. Do 12 on your own. Good
Okay.
luck.
D barn and good luck.
The outside and inside the barn. Okay, actually, let's review. Ready?
All right.
So, how do
Yeah.
you line up? I'm sorry. How do you add or subtract decimals?
How do you add or subtract decimals? Well, you use the line up them soldiers.
Okay, remember that. Okay, which means put your decimal first, then your ones, then your tenths, and go left and right from there. How do you multiply? How do you multiply decimals?
Multiply decimals by using the cloud bank, the 3-step solving process.
Count how many decimals you need to get integers, multiply regular, and then pay back the bank.
Number 3.
All right.
Huh.
ABC. How do you divide decimals?
By debarning.
Exactly. Outside the barn and inside the barn,
Uh-huh.
or the house. All right.
Yep. Go